everybody. Thanks for joining me for another one-man review. Today I've got a book that I'm really excited to finally have. It's a book I'm excited that even exists. This artist, Gizem Vural, I'm sorry, I'm butchering that name, I'm sure, is someone that I've seen on Instagram and been following, not for very long, but very excited about the type of abstract comics that they're making. And had been wondering if these were going to be put into a book or not, and luckily they just got collected. And I really, really love this kind of stuff. They're kind of poetic. I call it poetry of form is what I think these books are doing. The book came with this poster of the one comic and then a postcard that's hand signed by Gizem. Apologies, Gizem, if I'm mispronouncing your name. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing it. But I was really excited to see that this work got collected because it's an artist that I really like, and it's a type of comic that I'm finding more of. Hugh Nguyen is the other person I can think of that works like this, that I just really love this. And then the book is really kind of interesting because it's obviously like hand stitched and hand bound, so it has this really like art book, art object type of vibe to it that makes it feel like special and unique. So I'll just flip through the book. I don't want to give it all away because I want to incentivize people going and buying their own stuff, but it's pretty much just like each one is one page. Like this one's called Dangerous Out There, and it's just like these abstract sense that things are falling. This one actually has a character, so it is more narrative in a sense, but a lot of the art is just trying to capture like a phenomena or something, and almost abstractly. And then something else I like is you'll get this here, and then you'll get like a detail, a close-up. So this is another one of those type of books that I've been trying to put my finger on, what is different about some of these new comics I'm finding. And I've come up with this idea that this is, instead of like Dan Clowes and Chris Ware bringing comics to art school, this is people bringing art school to comics. And even this idea that you would show like a detail of a work, you would show the whole work and then you would show a detail, that seems like very art portfolio to me, like as a painter. And I like seeing that idea show up. So here you'd get, this is beauty behind. And this one, you'll see it's not even narrative, and this is why I call it the poetics of form. You just get transformation of forms using the formal elements of art, line, shape, color, those types of things, and then the principles of design, balance, and rhythm. Those are like the subject matter for most of these stories. And then here you'll get a close-up of the art. It looks kind of like it's done with crayons or pastels, but I've seen some process stuff on Gizem's Instagram that suggests to me this is all done digitally. Here's one called Complicated. And you can see that they're just kind of poetic and lyrical little things, and you get another detail shot, and you can see the hand stitching here. This is details in a crowd, and so you just get these abstractions, using both abstraction in the sense of like a Picasso type of abstraction, but it also looks like a Georgia O'Keeffe type of abstraction, which what I mean by that is Picasso's more likely to essentialize a form down to shapes, and Georgia O'Keeffe's more likely to abstract by cropping off so you don't understand what you're looking at. And this says details in a crowd. You get crops of like a leg and a foot, but because there's also more of this like Picasso type of abstraction on top of it, it really just becomes about the colors and the shapes, and again, like the poetics of form and how form relates. You get some fold outs here. So that's another thing that I mean about poetics of form, is like the actual interaction of like, hey, something blows up there. That's a type of formalism that helps, one understand or interact with the content. And so I quite like that a bit too, seeing those blow ups, or just flipping the page and seeing some of the same colors and shapes show up, create like these links in between things that are really good. This was one of my favorites, and I think one of the early ones I saw, Drunk, and that's also this poster here, this print that's folded up as a poster. Just beautiful sense of color and design throughout. And then this one here that comes on this postcard, I really like this one too. This is something about, I forget what it's called. Let me see if I can find it in here. it's like pieces of the sky or something like that. Oh, here's a different version of it. Clear skies. So you can see this one is just the black and white version, just the marks in the sun, and then this one has sun colored in. This is another poetics of form type of thing I'm talking about. It's the same base image but presented twice, and so you can kind of see the relationships between them. So this is just to me, a really new, compelling way of thinking about sequential imagery, and this is some of the more sophisticated stuff that I've seen, and I'm really excited by it. Here's another good poetics of form in terms of like actually the interaction of a book. So waiting for winter to end is what this is called, and then you flip the page, and like the experience of seeing that one image there with these things disappearing, and then maintaining like the yellow, but it's like, okay, here's kind of the whole thing, here's the person, here's what they're looking at outside. I like those type of interactions, and then you get these. This is also really interesting, since most of the book doesn't have stuff printed on the back. It's interesting to see what happens when things are printed on the back. Like this kind of mimics this here. This little dot kind of shows up there. So there's a lot I see here that shows like the potentials for abstraction in comics to generate meaning by the way that you move the book, the way that things line up throughout the book, and techniques that have been and could be used more by people doing narrative work as well. I mean, this obviously has a narrative component with the figure. My only complaint is, these almost look like bound single prints, and I would have liked to have seen more where there's like 2 pages. I get why, because they're so singular, that I don't think the artist wants you to consider them together. I think that's part of that poetics of form, is I want you to focus on this and not focus on its relationship to that, unless I explicitly tell you to focus on that relationship. But I would like to see more out of Gizem that's over multiple pages and using these type of techniques just personally. But I really like that there's a few fold outs, and I don't know. It's just really intriguing to me. This whole project or approach is really intriguing. I don't know. I don't know exactly what all to say about it other than that, because there's something mysterious about it still. So I'll put a link to this. Hopefully there's still some out there that you can buy a copy of. I think it was a pretty limited run, but this is a really interesting artist. Really behind this artist. One of the best ways that you can support what we're doing here on the channel is to support the books that Sean's putting out through Living the Line. The first book that he put out is The Strange Death of Alex Raymond. It's a collaboration between Dave Sim and myself. The book was recently nominated for an Eisner Award in the Best Reality-Based category. It's a deep dive into the artwork and methods of Alex Raymond and the mystery surrounding his death in a car crash. So if you haven't grabbed that already, please do. There's also Yokoyama Yuichi's Plaza, which is a totally intense manga by an artist who has somehow figured out how to distill manga down to its purest essence. This book was successfully funded on Kickstarter, but if you missed the Kickstarter, you can order it through any comic store, any bookstore, Amazon, any place that you would normally get your graphic novels from. The Abolition of Man is a 5-issue mini-series done by myself and Sean in collaboration with the Midjourney AI. What you're seeing here is the cover to issue 1 and the first couple pages of issue 1. This first issue, we fed it an essay by C.S. Lewis, and this is just the imagery that the computer spat back at us. Issues 2 and 3 are a narrative, starting with the story that I wrote when I was 21, and then Sean's going to write issue 3, picking up where I left off. In this one, I'm kind of trying to force the AI to give me the images I want, and then doing some tweaking in Photoshop to get these kind of colored looks on it. For issue 4, we're turning the task of writing over to the AI as well. So the AI has written the script, and then we've just put that into the Midjourney AI, and it's turned out art. The script and the art is some of the absolutely most horrific stuff I've ever seen. We're a bit scared to even publish this issue. And I don't have any art to show for it yet, but Sean and I have decided to do a 5th issue of abolition as well, because we have someone who we're really, really excited to have on board, providing an essay for that 5th issue that we'll illustrate, and we'll announce more about that soon. Thanks for following along. Take it away, Jack.
You want to see all these books? Smash